But TGIT, I know you talk about it so much, but how do you feel like that was pivotal to the grand landscape of Shondaland?
I will say this, because it's interesting. I don't remember thinking like this is going to be a big deal. I don't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we had Pete's great new show, we had Scandal, we had Grace. I don't remember thinking like this is going to be a big deal until we got to New York for the upfronts. And it was very clear that it was like a really big, like it was a weirdly big deal. And I don't think I understood it, but I do think like they were negotiating things and they were nervous about a lot of stuff. And it was the first time I stepped onto a stage to like talk, because, you know, shy person, where I felt like, okay, I got this. You know, not I'm super confident and I feel great about it because I still felt sick to my stomach. But I was like, okay, like this is a moment that they're asking us to like step into. Okay, we can do this. That felt good.
I think for me too, as somebody who's always obsessed with programming, like I memorized TV Guide when I was a kid. Like I would get the TV Guide. I'd memorized the fall preview episode, and I could tell you still to this day, like what the Saturday night lineup was in 1970. And I knew, because I was a scheduling geek, that when they put all three shows from a particular creator or company on a night, for me it was actually like, I cannot believe how, I can both believe it because I'm very proud of what we did and I think we absolutely deserved it, but I was so delighted and sort of weirdly joyful that two women who had been working forever and were continuing to push rocks uphill, two women got the most valuable night on television because that's
the
when
most
the
expensive television real estate.
Yeah, and I looked at
that's when
ads
the
really
movies
early.
were movies and cars. They did movies and car ads, on Thursday
and, like,
nights.
Makeup, which is also good. But it was a big deal, and because I think that we're still the longest running female producing team, maybe in movies and TV. I don't know.
Robin Roberts said so it has to be true.
So it's true.
Yeah.
But it was sort of like, it made me feel, it was this weird kind of like, all of a sudden, I felt like I'd moved up in a way, but I also realized that all of a sudden there's an even bigger target on your back.
Yes, that's what it was. I think for me, like I never got like, oh, I'm so excited, because the scrutiny was so there. And when you're the first anything, people are really looking for how you're going to fail. Not in a mean way, but I think that's just comes with the territory.
Well, yeah, because look, the logo's a roller coaster. You go up and you go down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the point is, we know there are moments you go up and you go down. Gosh knows we've been through some downs.
Yes.
But it definitely, it's when you start to feel, we did after, certain shows too, but it's when you really start to feel the heat, and you also understand that, sometimes it's not welcome. So we plowed right through.
Yeah, we didn't care about that part.
We didn't.
Yeah. So we wanted to move to Netflix because we'd sort of mastered network television to a great degree.
Yeah.
And in the sense that we've been doing it for so long that we'd start out and there'd be problems that would take us months to figure out. Remember? And we would drink bottles of wine at the end of the day. And And then by the end, it was like we could solve that same problem in like 2 minutes. So it started to feel like we were obsessed with always growing and learning. So it started to feel like there could be a new frontier. And also, Netflix was going on and they were making The Crown, and I was watching The Crown and being like, that episode must have cost like $10 million or whatever. And I was obsessed. So when we decided to make the leap, it was really about like a new journey, finding new creative freedom, and also bringing along people with us. And it allowed us, Netflix was very open because they're a startup. ABC is amazing because ABC was like a storied, old company. But a startup's framework starts from yes. And an institution's framework starts from we don't do that, right? And so while we got them to do tons of things, it was really great to go into Netflix and be like, we want to do games, we want to do podcasts, we want to do this, we want to do that. And they were like, sure. And we came in with a slate of projects that we were excited about. And they were like, great. It felt like an open arena for us to start off in.
It's like we came in and I remember saying, well, there are all these writers that we love
yeah, and we could bring them with us, yeah.
And I said I came up with this idea in the middle of the night, and I said for some reason I was like, I think there's a way to bring them over in a way that would make sense for blah, 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 blah. And they all looked at me and they said, that's a very interesting idea. We're going to ruminate on this and get back to you in 2 days. And they figured out a way that we could have some of our most beloved people continue to work with us. I mean, it was like they had
never done this before.
No.
Right? So their idea was simply like, we haven't done this before, so let us figure it out, which was amazing. They were very collaborative in that way. You know, the question was, what kind of advice do you have for somebody wanting to start a production company, somebody just starting out? And my first piece of advice is, don't start a production company. Like, find an amazing story that you want to tell, either as a producer or a writer or as a director or whatever, and tell that story. Let your signature be the work that you create, not the space that you create to hold the work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that totally makes sense. And it's weird, I'm the flip side of that too, which is, I think a lot of people, as soon as one thing happens, goes off and they develop a brand, and they don't have a brand yet. They don't have, there's not enough substance to one thing to go, I'm going to just develop a whole thing based on this and have a company and do, I think, I always feel like you take a step and then you observe and then you move forward and you take a step. It wasn't like we said we wanted to conquer the world through TV, but that didn't mean like, so tomorrow we're going to start a gigantic company, which is, we're going to call, we're conquering the world.
We grew through necessity.
Yeah.
We really did.
And at a particular point out of
ambition. And ambition, yeah. but mostly, like, the ambition necessitated it, but also the work that we did necessitated us to have that. Like, we needed to have that ambition for ourselves. So it feels to me like I'm always like, start with the thing that you're creating, not the, you know what I mean? Not the trappings.
And yeah, in a weird way, another way of putting it is just let things grow organically.
That's a much smarter way of saying it.
Don't let things, well, I used to write coverage, but I think if it's organic, it will happen in the right order, and find the right partner.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is great.
This is really fun.
I'll talk to you all day long.
Me
and
too.
Twice on Sunday.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Perfect.
We love talking to you guys too.
Really love it.
And you might notice that we're wearing these beautiful 20 years of Shondaland shirts.
Hold on, I'm going to get the jewelry out of the way.
Yeah, it's beautiful. They come in many colors,
and also,
sleeve lengths.
This one's long sleeve.
Mine is short sleeved. So yeah, there are hoodies and sweatshirts.
I love this thing so much that I might sleep in it.
There are tote bags. There are all kinds of things.
There's a whole bunch of stuff. You could actually, like, double match and have a tote bag, and you could have it's like.
And there's some really, this is not our only design.
No.
There's some really cool designs, some very show-specific designs that I think that you'll like, with a few little things in there that you might enjoy, and just a lot of, I don't know, we're celebrating 20 years of Shondaland. Yeah. We're excited about it.
It's
so
cool. If
you want to wear any of this merch, because Betsy and I are wearing the very first pieces.
We are.
You can go to Shondaland.com and get some.
You definitely should. And, way to celebrate with us. Because 20 years, you don't want to be alone celebrating. You want a lot of people to celebrate too, right?
I'm Shonda.
I'm Betsy.
Bye.
Bye.